Are you satisfied with the quality of the relationships that you have in your life? Do you have people that are there for you, that can listen to you and not judge you, and not turn a conversation around quickly and make it about them? And the other side of the same coin, do you have people that you're there for, that you listen to non-judgmentally, and that you don't take that turn in the conversation to say, oh yeah, that happened to me too. And in fact, when it happened to me, and we run off and we change it and make it about us. If you answered yes to either one of those questions, that you have people that you're there for or that are there for you, then the following videos might not serve you deeply. But if you said no outright, or if you even hesitated going, I'm not quite sure if I have that in my life or not, then what follows in these next few videos could quite possibly change your life. Raise your hand if you've ever been told that you don't listen. Okay, that didn't go across. Let's try it again. All right, I'm going to repeat the question. Raise your hand if you've been told that you don't listen. Okay, good, that's better. Now, the people in the audience that didn't raise their hand, I can guarantee you, you've been told that you don't listen, but you weren't listening at the time. Being listened to is a very rare experience. Just look around. People spend a vast amount of their time in conversation with another, distracted by technology, watching the clock, or just patiently waiting for the other person to shut up so that we get to say what it is that we want to say. Active listening is the antidote to all of this. It's a skill set and a belief system or a way of approaching people that makes people feel heard and understood. Active listening has several main tenets. The first one is all we're doing is holding a mirror up. We're reflecting back our listening of what was said, sometimes of what was not said, of what mood we think the person we're listening to might be in, or what our intuition is and our gut sensing. We're not trying to be brilliant. We're just trying to hold a mirror up. This is what I heard. This is what I sense when you say that. The second tenet is really important. Don't fix, solve, or advise. Don't try to be brilliant with how much you know or how quickly you can resolve something or bring somebody to a state of awareness. There are other times for those conversations, they're very valuable. But in active listening, we just don't fix problems, solve problems, or advise problems. We're not trying to look great as a listener. And the last one, because we're checking out our opinions about things and what we think we heard, it's always critical to check out what it was that you thought was said or what you thought you heard. And so we use what's called minimum modifiers. Minimum modifiers nudge people who don't know what to say next or who are quiet into more conversation. Sometimes people ask questions, do you have another story or do you have something else you want to say? And that's a yes, no question. And that can be answered yes or no. And that's not really something that opens up a conversation. But when we use minimum modifiers, they're what we call open-ended. I'll give you a couple of examples of ones that I use regularly. Can you tell me more about that? I could be wrong about this, but I think what you're saying is, how did that make you feel? I'm not sure I understand what the problem is. Could you please explain it to me again? Sometimes a minimal modifier doesn't even use words. Just how we use our body can make people want to say more. It doesn't matter what the words become. It matters if we can get them to say more. Because the more we can get them to say, the more material we have to begin to use active listening on. Again, being listened to is a very rare experience. we have ways around it to make people think that we're listening, but in actuality, it's a shortcut. So I know people who practice active listening and they say things like, I understand what you're saying, or I get what you mean. But when we can say, is the fact that everybody's overworked and frustrated and about ready to quit what you're trying to share with me? That's much more important than saying, I get what you're driving at. Or could it be that you have to do all the work around here, and because of that, you're feeling invisible and underappreciated? When we say those things, we prove we're listening. When we say, I hear what you're saying, or I get where you're driving at, it just is a shortcut, but it doesn't really work. It doesn't have the same impact on the listener. And so the other piece that I want to add to this is that if you want more, today was just an overview of what active listening is. It's the foundational piece. The next video is called The Anatomy of Active Listening, and we'll actually go through what the components are, how to use it, what different levels are, and what the basic skill sets are. And then after that, we have a video that's going to give you role plays and things that you can actually look at and begin to practice reflective listening with a video. And from there, you can begin to apply it in your everyday life. Active listening applied in everyday life, not all the time, but at the right time, creates high impact relationships. Relationships where people are there for each other, where they can be whoever they need to be, and where they can be there and not be judged. When we have people like that in a family, in a relationship, in a marriage, or on a team, these are called high impact because they can take a hit, they can get shooken up a little bit, and it doesn't have the same impact as a person who has a lower quality relationship. So a high impact relationship is solid and stable and can weather conflict quite well because there's no judgment and we're there for other people. Thank you very much. If this helps you in any way, I hope that you hit the subscribe button. Thank you very much.